A scholar of exquisite temperament, member number 81 of the illustrious Genius Society, and an expert in the field of life sciences, she earned Noose attention with her talent and terrifying perseverance, and began her research on the origin of life in a secretive corner of the universe. Subsequently, she was invited by Herta to collaborate with Screwlum and Steven to develop the simulated universe. Privately, she revels in traditional theater and desserts, and she is also very interested in embroidery. During her childhood, she received early exposure to science from her mother, who was a scientist. Her life in a tiny house with her family of science enthusiasts was filled with love. As such, it wasn't long before she realized there were subtle differences in love, each kind coming with different scents. Her grandmother with silver hair was a fan of traditional theater with its humming and chirping, while her father wore a pair of large, furry boots. Her parents loved each other, but they still argued from time to time. She was an impassive girl who made mistakes all the time, but was also forgiven all the time.
I was closer with Aunt Arlise compared to my other relatives, as she would buy me snacks. Her love was the best.
Soon, the young girl learned to be stubborn. Her understanding of love broke away from the formula taught in textbooks. As she grew older, her mother became strict with her. Together, they walked one step at a time on a vast glacial planet. The girl gasped and stopped on the way, carefully observing the fantastical and enchanting life forms buried beneath the glaciers. What used to be life forms, at least. Every time she arrived home after going on scientific expeditions, it was time for rewards. When she took a small bite of the cake, the mouth-watering aroma would immediately cling to the roof of her mouth. Her insignificant anticipation always gave her mother's research an inviting smell. Starting from their home, a planet blessed by abundance, they boarded research aircraft and set off to more worlds. Surrounded by flash bombs, silk headscarves, ribbons, and embroidery, the girl embraced joy amongst life forms created by spiraling and ascending data. Hey Ruan, after eating Qingtuan, you must wash your fingers thoroughly before you can touch the lab bench. She was dressed in all black and mourning attire at her parents' funeral. As usual, she still tied her hair neatly. Her expression was hidden behind her ink-black strands of hair. She did not shed a single tear. As the night fell, layers of geometric patterns formed by data spirals appeared on the screen in the lab. They shifted, expanded, and flowed along with the sound of traditional theater songs. After peeling away the layers of the patterns, the secret she meticulously crafted and protected with care was revealed. Her parents, with their eyes closed. Their faces were as impassive as if they were asleep.
This is a letdown. They failed to keep their promise with Grandma. And I, too, let them down for failing to protect them as promised. Only science never lets anyone down, she said. Wanting her parents to be equal, she stopped using her previous nickname and gave herself a new name by combining each of her parents' surnames. Since then, whenever someone asked her about her home, there would be a flash of confusion in her eyes. She seems to have forgotten everything. In such a state, she started working around the clock on her calculations. She was so engrossed in her research that she never ate regularly. When she was on a roll, she could spend entire days and nights working on research without sleeping, and only dozed off when she hit her limit. Soon, she was only relying on the faint glow of fireflies to gather her research results every night. The more dismissive she was of the existing laws of life, the quicker she progressed. She totally disregarded formulas, then moved on to ignoring the meaning of life. She simply observed, assessed with her hands, held the data in her palm to feel it, then proceeded to concoct new laws for species. As a result, the ferns and flowers in her lab flourished evermore. They grew at a speed visible to the human sight, and ultimately filled every space in the lab. In the space between the flowers and leaves lay the serene and emotionless countenance of her parents, formed by the aggregation of data. The moment her sleeping parents were about to open their eyes, by then, she had nearly destroyed the existing laws of biological evolution on the entire planet, yet she still marched on toward her goal. It wasn't until she looked up from her research and stared at the sky did she notice the gaze of the erudition had descended upon her.
After receiving the gaze of Noose, she left her home and began a reclusive life. No one knew what she asked Noose, but after that incident, she became even more apathetic and impassive, and even more immersed in her research. She would only study the fundamental nature of life. A greater variety of life forms came into existence through her concoction. Some burning life forms became flowing flames that crept and weaved under her feet. Sometimes she felt like she was fire itself. Some fluid beings turned into liquid light that slithered around her slender wrists. Sometimes she felt like she was light itself. Some living things concocted from knowledge attempted to develop their own thoughts, sentience, and emotions. They sometimes rambunctiously cry, guffaw, or wail. All these have been fused into her body. Yet she could not feel them. Life only exists for such a short time after all. They fleetingly pass from birth to death, and her research is the only constant. Occasionally, her casual research would shake the schools of biology. Her research transformed many planets, flying whales, swimming deer, fearful flowers, and trees with a vast root system. Her creations have already went beyond the scope of experience and imaginations comprehensible to organic life. She kept pushing herself for a more in-depth understanding of life, just to bring herself closer to Noose and their unforgettable glance. Aeons. What kind of beings are they? Are they also a form of life? As her groundbreaking studies rose to fame within the cosmic academic community, people always tried to disrupt her life as a recluse. She turned to look at the letter from the Genius Society on the desk, and, once again, dumped it into the trash can. She is surrounded by an eccentric science fanatic from a small town, an inorganic life form, and a puppet girl. They indulge in afternoon tea and collaborate in research. They squabble loudly and giggle from time to time. When did she first meet them? She can't remember, only that it was for a project. She was forced to be there, that she is certain. With leisure, she munches on the cake. She became a part of this solely for the sake of simulated aeons, which are worth her time and efforts. They are worth her time, but not worth being forced to socialize.
Genius Society? I do not care. This is a strange, instinctive feeling. That one named Herda is rather similar to me. I mean, similar on a deeper level.
She is certain that she won't make another mistake. It's because she no longer trusted anyone, so she won't be let down again. And she won't let anyone else down again. What is the fundamental essence of life? Where does life end? Do the answers really exist? Not a trace of emotion can be discerned on her emotionless and silent face. Yet her hair is roiling with the heat of boiling and steaming, and the rims of her eyes are slightly red. She is enjoying this. Only the word Aeon can stir her heart. Everything else in the universe is a mere distraction. How interesting. On the incubator, a life nurtured by the rice cooker popped out in perfection. The method with which life is created is miraculous. How romantic. She knows better than anyone the price one has to pay to study aeons. But she does not care. She knows. She might even become. The time is just right. The update for the project is about to commence. She turns around and leaves. Unbeknownst to the girl, her grandmother has always been watching her through the monitor, day after day, for countless years.
Ruan, my Ruan. When we finally meet again, would it be...
She once loved to seal the moment when plum blossoms were on the verge of wilting and keep them close to her. It has been many years since then. Many life forms, rambunctious, sweet, and everything in between, have bloomed from her hands, but the plum blossoms still wilt at their preordained times. It has been many years since then. Her visage in the mirror seems untouched by time, but in the grand scheme of the cosmos, is she too destined to last for but a fleeting moment?
If all is set for eventual demise, what purpose then does creation serve?
After a silence that seems to stretch to eternity, the winds blow, the petals fall, and the reflection in the mirror tenders the same answer as always.
For the day when plum blossoms are no longer kept.
She deftly caresses the icy surface of the mirror. Such soliloquies have happened too many times for her to count. She pointed at the green rice cake.
The experiment has ended. Time to take a break. I just can't miss this freshly made dessert.
She saw the puppet girl frowning in deep thought.
Well, in your current body, you can only look, but not eat. I'll make you a box of new ones when the time comes.
She saw the mechanical aristocrat hesitating at his own cup. Don't worry, it's only machine oil, perfectly safe for you to consume.